Hey guys, Gary here with Olson's Classic Yachts again. Hey, I wanted to go over with you guys what the outhaul's purpose is on a boat. It is the line that's attached to the clew or the back end of the mainsail on the boom. So if you were looking at the main, right here there's a line that's tied and oftentimes goes down into the boom, and it will either be tied off on the boom or it will come down into a set of blocks into the cockpit. The purpose of that line is to be able to pull the trailing edge of the sail back or allow it to bag out, which would be by moving it forward, and you're changing the draft of the sail. So the physics behind that is this. Let's take for instance a Piper Cub, which is a slow prop airplane. Because it doesn't have a lot of speed over the wings, it needs to create a little bit more lift than some others. So it has a wing that's like this with a very deep draft, so that air can really get up over the top and get moving quicker. It needs to create more lift. An F-16 on the other hand, which goes Mach 2 something, it's going so fast it doesn't need as much draft in the wing, so its wing looks a lot more like this. It's nice and sleek, it's smooth, and it doesn't have draft. Because when it's going as fast as it does, if it had too much, it would actually be overpowered. There'd be too much lift and it wouldn't be balanced. So in a sailboat, the concept is exactly the same. So let's say up here we've got 5 knots of wind, and down here we've got 25 knots of wind. We need a very different shape in our sail for both of those, because in the 5 knots of wind we've got to create a lot of lift. So in that situation you want that sail to be nice and big, nice and looped, so it can really create, when the wind comes into it, it can create a lot of lift over that outside. In the 25 knots of wind, that same sail, first it's going to be reefed down, but even then you need it to be nice and flat. Reason being is it doesn't need to create as much lift because it's got 25 knots of wind coming across it. It's going to create plenty. So the way to do that is by using this outhaul. So the outhaul, which is attached at the back of the sail, if you have a big draft in here and you take your outhaul and you pull it to the back, it's going to change the way that sail is shaped, and it's going to flatten it out. General rule is the faster the wind speed, the flatter you want your sails. So on the mainsail, you've got the outhaul that can do that. So when you get into higher winds, usually start getting above 15 knots of wind if you haven't reefed your mainsail, you want to take that outhaul and pull it back, get it nice and tight. It's going to flatten the sail out. It'll keep you from getting overpowered. It'll actually allow you to sail into a couple more knots of wind speed without having to reef the mainsail. And then you can also detune the main a little bit by letting it out. But the outhaul is a great way of doing that. It also is going to give you the proper shape for that wind speed, and it's going to give you the proper amount of lift, and you're going to perform a little bit better. So when the winds get up, tighten it in. Tighten it out, I should say, and when the wind's lower a little bit, let that outhaul bag and let that mainsail get a little bit bigger, and it's going to help you with having the proper shape of that sail in those different conditions. So we'll go over the jib a little bit later, and we'll talk about how to flatten that out and some angles with that, but I just wanted to let you guys know about how to use that outhaul on the boat. So if you have any questions about how they work on any individual boat, feel free to give me a call or an email and we can show you that. Thanks guys.